Senior women, listen closely, because what I am about to share with you may completely change how you view relationships after 60. For far too long, society has taught women that we need a man to complete us, to validate our worth, and to prove that we are still desirable. But the truth is this: you do not need a boyfriend. And there are 5 brutal truths about having one after 60 that most people are afraid to say out loud. Today, I am going to share them with you, and by the end of this, one thing will be very clear. You are not too picky, you are not too old, and you are definitely not difficult. What you are is wise enough to see what many people only realize when it is already too late. Let me be clear about something first. I am not against love, companionship, or connection. What I am against is you sacrificing your peace, your health, your dignity, and your sense of self just so you can say you have a man in your life. You deserve far more than the bare minimum. You deserve respect, emotional support, and someone who understands the depth of your life experience. You deserve a sense of fulfillment and peace that does not depend on another person. And as you listen to these 5 truths, you may come to understand why, for many women, it may actually be better to never have a boyfriend again. The first brutal truth is that the boyfriend role often keeps you emotionally small. At this stage of life, the word boyfriend no longer fits who you truly are. When we were younger, it made sense, but now it feels childish and limiting. Your heart has survived so much: divorce, widowhood, betrayal, illness, caregiving, raising children, and the loss of loved ones. You are a woman full of wisdom and emotional depth. Yet the title of boyfriend often comes with immature expectations that require you to shrink emotionally just to keep a man comfortable. I once worked with a woman in her late 60s named Margaret. Her partner insisted on being called a boyfriend and rejected terms like partner or companion because they made him feel old. At first, it seemed harmless, but over time, a pattern emerged. He wanted the benefits of commitment: her loyalty, emotional support, cooking, and presence, without taking on the responsibility of a true partner. Whenever Margaret tried to discuss the future, he dismissed her by saying, "Why ruin a good thing?" What he really meant was that he wanted comfort without growth, depth, or accountability. Slowly, Margaret began to silence herself. She stopped sharing her fears, her worries, and her spiritual thoughts because he told her those conversations were too heavy and depressing. This is the truth many women face. Some men want the easy, light version of you, not the full, evolved woman you have become. The second brutal truth is that your energy, health, and safety are too precious to gamble with. After 60, your energy is no longer unlimited. Every choice you make has a cost. A boyfriend can easily become a full-time emotional responsibility with very little return. Many women begin these relationships feeling grateful for companionship, only to find themselves slowly turning into emotional caretakers. I once spoke with a woman named Elena who met a man in his 70s. At first, he seemed kind and appreciative. He told her she had saved him from loneliness. But soon, he was calling her late at night, unloading his regrets, his health fears, his family problems, and his emotional pain. I asked her one simple question: "When you finish talking to him, do you feel lighter or heavier?" She immediately began to cry. She felt heavier every time, but guilt kept her answering the phone. This is how empathy becomes a burden. Beyond emotional strain, there is also physical safety to consider. Meeting new men, especially later in life, can introduce risks you no longer have the energy to recover from. Ask yourself honestly, does having a boyfriend bring you peace or constant anxiety? The third brutal truth is that a boyfriend can quietly freeze your emotional and spiritual growth. After 60, you are not declining, you are ripening. This is often the time when women begin deep inner work, explore spirituality, heal old wounds, travel, learn, and finally discover who they are beyond roles like wife or mother. But when a man feels threatened by your growth, he may begin to resist it. He might say things like, "You've changed," or "You used to be easier to be around." What he really means is that he prefers the version of you who did not challenge him. Slowly, you begin to edit yourself again. You stop sharing what you are learning. You stop attending events that nourish you. You stop growing because you don't want to make him uncomfortable. And in doing so, you pause your own transformation for someone else's comfort. The fourth brutal truth is that the cost is higher than most women realize, both emotionally and financially. By this stage of life, you have already paid a heavy price through work, family, caregiving, and relationships. Yet many women underestimate how much having a boyfriend can cost them. It starts small, spending money, adjusting schedules, staying up late, disrupting routines. Then it grows into bigger sacrifices, sharing your home, paying more bills, or supporting a man whose finances or life are unstable. Emotional exhaustion follows. You wake up tired not because of age, but because you are giving more than you are receiving. Your peace of mind is priceless, and anything that drains it is simply too expensive. The fifth and final brutal truth is that you deserve sacred love, not leftover attention. Some men pursue older women not because they value their wisdom, but because they assume they will tolerate more and expect less. They rely on your fear of being alone. They believe you should be grateful for any attention at all. This belief is a lie. When you accept a boyfriend out of fear, you teach yourself that your own company is not enough. You settle for emotional crumbs, occasional calls, inconsistent presence, and half-hearted affection. You confuse familiarity with love, but you deserve a connection that meets you at the level of your soul. You are not here to fill a man's empty hours. You are here to live the most authentic, peaceful, and meaningful chapter of your life. If a man enters your life who adds peace, respects your boundaries, and supports your growth, you can choose him from strength, not fear. Until then, you are allowed to say no. You are allowed to protect your heart. You are whole. You are worthy. And you are deeply lovable without ever needing a boyfriend.